So I just shot I don't know, I don't even know what to call it. I want to be put down in Sunspel. I want to be put down in my Sunspel. So on practical terms, clothing has always been a very useful technique for the patriarchy to establish democratic relationships with third world countries that were leaning into communism. The clothing of like the idea that clothing can be manufactured in a third world country and then brought in is delusional. It has been normalized to such a degree that you might actually not think that, and I might be giving you a like really interesting idea. The art that I engage in, you would call it data art, and a part of this private legal research lab's objective of promoting democracy is buying clothing companies. The police, politicians, like any figure of authority, is only given their authority through the institutionalized value of which is represented through their uniform. And my love for clothing, the work of having entered to Auschwitz and then now being in Auschwitz, the experience of being a victim of Auschwitz, you want to wear the skin. I now have to wear the skin of the victims of Auschwitz to figure out what it was like to be a victim of Auschwitz. This idea of them being burned alive or like gassed alive, uniquely speaks to the effects of trauma done onto the skin. And quite literally, my parents had abused me as a child, and I'm left with a burn on my right shoulder. And so talking about skin is very personal to my life. So that actually my entire work is just a reflection as a trauma response to the potential I have to overcome pain through developing my human spirit. And that's a very intellectual way that the Jews also talk about the Holocaust. They present you the idea that, and it's not just the Jews, it's intellectuals on the subject, but no matter how much trauma had been done onto them, it didn't take from their spirit. And that's actually a batshit insane proposition. And so when you buy, like as a tool to promote democracy, you take clothing seriously. You buy companies like Doc Martin, which represent like working class upheaval in the United Kingdom. Ireland, for example, comes to mind immediately, like what the Irish endure against the patriarchy. Sunspel to me, these are both continental British companies. Helmut Lang, the innovator of minimal 90s design. Lacoste, my love for tennis. Buying the Lacoste company, paying off all its debt, taking it private through this research lab, and then having a small atelier in France but the atelier is in the hair salon, and it's that for you to have a garment of Lacoste, you have to go there in person, and it's just a white jersey pick polo that has no logo on it. And then that as a project is actually what I'm trying to do, which is it's our interpretation of iconography that empowers the Lacoste brand. And so what Lacoste would do at that point is allow the public to draw how they interpret the crocodile, and then the point of using Lacoste to like engage the public with literally engage the public with engaging in drawing is that the Charlie Hebdo murder is something that's still really fucking on my mind, and I'm really pissed about. The Charlie Hebdo magazine drew Mohammed, and then some Islamists came and committed murder against cartoonists of that company. I cannot tell you how serious that is to me as an artist. I am like a huge part of my, like, beside, like, my post grad work could actually be focusing on exactly how to exterminate extremism in France, because that I have to work as an artist, like my soul has to work with the medium of um, like the visual image. I don't want to be targeted by Islamists. And that Islam represents patriarchy, oppression towards women. Very clearly, it promotes psychopathy and is the patriarchy. And so at that point, it just feeds into the work of the labor lab, of the research lab, which is like educating the public about their rights to defend themselves against the patriarchy and psychopathy. Loro Piana, for example, if I'm not mistaken, had been found to be using sweatshops. The sense of fucking privilege among the highest levels of like global elite is delusional. Oh, and I don't know why okay, so these are my optical glasses. And these are my sunglasses. They're by the same company and they're both prescription. You can, so they have 80% tint. You can actually still see my eyes. I know NiceSat does this for practical reasons. I had a point as to like why I was gonna do this for you, like, but I forgot it. I think it has something to do with like, so like the internet to me isn't a useful resource. I want technology in my life, but I don't want like a capitalist technology informing my thinking process. I want to be able to like quite literally, oh fuck, and I don't, okay, just wait. I want to quite literally have this device and then like just open it up, my Playdate, and just go into like home mode and then immediately like shut off my iPhone, which itself has a home mode, which is just turning off the phone, but it sends a like psychological, it just makes the psychological connection that the reason it's being turned off is not because I'm disconnecting, I'm not becoming vulnerable, I'm actually preserving my integrity as a person. You put it away and then it just like controls the lights, controls music, and you just start reading. There's really no media consumption after books and music. And you design your house in a way where it's like very straightforward to manage, so that when you wake up, a part of you like confronting the patriarchy is like watering your plants, folding your bedding, sweeping, and the such. Exactly what I do, which is like very therapeutic. And like a part of this lifestyle is you wear sunglasses like this because you don't want people looking at you, and like your wardrobe, you couldn't even, and I'm actually intentionally wearing these clothes. It's not just like random. I had something to say, but I don't have it anymore. There's something to be said about like the cops use clothing to signify to you that they have authority. So why don't you use clothing to signify to them that you have authority? If we as a private legal research lab are like literally on the bleeding edge of promoting democracy across the world, and we own the Sunspel brand, wear Sunspel. Like it's literally anti-patriarchal, it's like anti-psychopath of you to wear Sunspel. And so what you can do is just like, you can just grab at your like collar, and then they'll know that it's like you're grabbing at it because you're wearing Sunspel. And so the love for clothing, you have this beautiful wardrobe. A few of your leather jackets are made out of human skin. There was actually a film about like young people coming to terms with the fact that they were born to be harvested. And so this idea of human skin acquisition has already been analyzed through through an empathetic like using empathy as like a primary like just that they focused on emotion and then they chose empathy. God, I have something to say. Now you're just gonna watch me sit here. Oh, so the very first thing that the elite, that capitalist, like the capitalist strategy to send manufacturing offshore is to take manufacturing of clothing off-site or like off-nation, offshore. And if you know that, it doesn't fucking matter that you don't have a relationship with clothing. They are literally, as a first step, using clothing to denaturalize your existence. And so start caring about clothing. And that's what we get the point across. Like my passion for clothing benefits this dialogue completely randomly, like by coincidence, but it's like literally speaking, the first thing you would need to do to start fighting for reshoring of all manufacturing is to say there's literally no reason for cheap clothing, like cheap garment manufacturing, to be done elsewhere, because besides the carbon, like besides the emission expense, you're not doing it for like any moral and ethical and like any reason that is not self-serving. And like I'm not gonna, like this thing with Gravity Pope speaks to how seriously I'm taking the connection art has with, or the connection clothing has with arts institutions, which with democracy. Workers' rights are primarily violated internationally. Or how do you even say this? Clothing manufacturing is an excellent way to stabilize in any third world country the idea that workers' rights can be violated. If the very first thing clothing manufacturers do, or if the very first thing like capitalists do to destabilize the working conditions of a third world country is bring in clothing manufacturing, you can bet that it has nothing to do with an artistic sensibility. It's actually completely psychopathically strategic. Great, so like use that against them. Okay, I know that this needs to go up to like 15 minutes. I don't have anything else to say. If the work that I create as an artist is to promote the welfare of my family, I'm in a pretty fucking good place. And then as a part of that, I get to buy the clothing companies that like mean something to me. Owning Helmut Lang. Oof. Owning Lacoste, like I don't own any Lacoste. It's just like the visual. Oof. Oh, and then you know what? I'll say this. I don't make these videos for you. I'm actually developing my career offline. This is just for the sake of cataloging. I was even thinking that this platform, because everyone's user ID is going to be verified because they're customers of the hair salon, there's going to be no bots. You can just make a social media. All I would want it to be, and this is what I was thinking of this morning, was you publish something onto the social media and then like that's it. It's just a catalog of your work. And then if other people want to engage with your work, they actually see everybody's content in a multi-dimensional manner through the screen, and then they make connections, and then that's it. It's like there's a type of engagement, but it doesn't promote, it promotes a different type of dialogue, that where you actually have to engage in person with like potentially written essays that you contribute to contextualize any connections you've made if you actually want to go that far.